Thank you, Jennifer. That was a great speech. It's actually pretty funny because when we were cutting up the questions, I read the same one, like the same question, what do people not know about you? And my answer was the exact same. I am terrified of public speaking, so I feel like that kind of comes around. And they do say public speaking is like the second most feared thing next to death, which is crazy because death is death, and public speaking, it's in our everyday lives. It's something you can't really avoid unless you don't communicate. So that's pretty incredible. So we're going to move on to our next speaker, who is Michael Chen. Woo!
Ladies and gentlemen, honorable judges, respected family members, are you having a good day today?
Yes. Yeah.
Well, I am going to ruin your day, because I am going to speak about the least attractive thing imaginable, Mr. Trump. Let's do this. Now, the first question you all may be asking right now is who in their right mind would vote for that tub of lard? Well, I asked a few Trump supporters, and their answers were, he is rich, obviously. He is influential. He is successful and persistent, and he means what he says. Now, I just want to get a deeper look into each of these points. He means what he says. Does he? For barely half a year ago, he released a Twitter statement attacking Jon Stewart about his fake last name. Or, as Donald Trump would put it, why didn't Mr. Stewart change his last name? What is he so afraid of? What is he running away from? He should be proud of his heritage. Now, evidently, this statement released massive backlash, and so he was forced to release yet another statement. But not an apology statement, mind you. That statement said, I did not insult Dopey Jon Stewart and his phony last name. Even though a month ago, he insulted Dopey Jon Stewart on his phony last name, and also reminding that fine gentleman to be proud of his heritage. Now that must really hurt. That's like punching a kid in the face and saying, I didn't do it, I am out of here. But let's just say what Donald Trump does mean what he says. Let's say that he's actually honest with himself. Well, if he does mean what he says, he has some seriously dark thoughts. And when asked, what is the solution to the ISIS problem? He responded as such, we need to kill their families. What? First of all, that's like shooting a tree in the distance while the soldiers are in front of you. You have done nothing to address the main problem, and you're just causing more trouble elsewhere. But now, above all, that is a war crime. For a political figure, I assume that he knows this. And just, why would he say that? To kill their families? It's outrageous. But he's allowed to say these outrageous statements, these borderline intelligible statements. For he is influential. That much is true. But why is he so influential? What makes him Donald Trump? Well, his bank account. Oh yes, lower class and middle class people, for that matter, are very attracted to the ideology of fat pockets filled with cash. Now that is not an unreasonable desire. Yet, too much of that desire leads to bad decisions. And now, to say that Donald Trump is rich doesn't mean he is always successful. He has made more money than any of us would in his lifetime, and more money than any of us will combined. Yet, he is not always consistent. No human in this world is perfect. God made us that way. Yet, Donald Trump thinks he can defy God. For, as he says, I have made all the right decisions up until now, and I will continue making those right decisions when I'm president. So now, let me just list a few things that he got wrong in the past. Trump Magazine, which folded. Trump World Magazine, which also folded. Trump Airlines, which shut down. Trump brand wine, which is discontinued. And Trump University, which is being sued right now because it's not actually a university. But above all, and most mind-boggling, Trump Steaks. Steaks. Yes, he has dedicated time and effort into manufacturing the country's finest meat. But do you believe? Okay, if I say this, none of you might believe me. But do you know where he sold those steaks? He sold those steaks at the Sharper Image, which, to the folks at home who don't know about the Sharper Image, is an appliance store. What? Selling steaks at an appliance store? That's like selling pets at the butcher shop down the road. Because what's the thought process behind that? It makes no sense. It is unthinkable. Unless you're Donald Trump, and in which, in this case, that is exactly who he is. But he's allowed to make these failures, because once again, Donald Trump's bank account comes to the rescue. Because one company goes bankrupt, heck, I'll just make another company, because I have the money. He has the cash to do that. And he actually used this as his trump card, no pun intended, to bring in voters. Now, he has abused this power way too much. For just a few months ago, he is quoted saying, "I'm rich, I tell the truth." Now, saying that you are rich, therefore you tell the truth, is like saying, "I'm vegetarian, therefore I know how to fly Boeing 747s. There's no correlation between the 2 points, and usually they go backtrack the other way. Now, that leads me to my next point. Is Donald Trump honest? Well, for a person who is honest, he has wildly varied views on society. He has been pro-choice and pro-life, for the use of firearms and against the use of firearms. And he's been for bringing foreign immigrants and now kicking them back out and blocking them out with his wall. A beautiful wall, by the way. But now, it might not be that much of a surprise to know Donald Trump lies. For his very name is a lie. Donald Trump, think about that. Trump is the sound that was made when the servant gets slapped by a wad of $1,000 bills. Trump is the sound of a man jumping into his mountain of cash in his Malibu mansion. Trump is the onomatopoeia of success, wealth, and prosperity. But that's not his real name. Before he changed it, it was Drumpf. Oh yes, Drumpf. Now that sounds a lot less magical than Trump. Drumpf is the sound that a bird makes when it crashes into a window of a closed-down dollar store. Which is why I assume is why he changed his last name. But shouldn't he be proud of his heritage? Why is he so scared? What is he running away from? So before I leave, because the light is red, I leave you all with a question. Do you think Mr. Drumpf is fit to govern a country of such prosperity and diversity? Thank you.
Well, thank you, Michael, for that speech. I know the U.S. election has been on everyone's mind, especially with the Ted Cruz dropping out. That kind of, for me personally, I'm a bit on edge about that. But I didn't know that Trump had changed his last name. That's new information to me, which I understand why he would. I would too. So.
Okay, that was confusing.
Michael's question is, how do you describe freedom in your own words?
Freedom. Well, freedom is the ability to have choice. To have choice in what you want and what you get. Now, without freedom, this world cannot survive. Without freedom, this world would be in disarray. This world would simply be full of chaos. And freedom is what keeps the world together. If we were all lacking freedom, we'd all be the equivalent of African slaves. So this is also why I don't want any of you to vote for Donald Trump, because if you vote for him, in the next 17 years, none of you will have any freedom. So, I guess that's it for me. Thank you very much.